Good evening. This is the English News Service from Tvri, bringing you the latest reports from around the world. First, the headlines. Nigerian television announces that General Sani Abacha has died. President Boris Yeltsin has been visiting Germany to help the Russian financial crisis.
Paul McCartney attended a memorial service for his beloved wife, Linda. And we take a look at the Spice Girls and a Pavarotti concert in Modena, Italy. And now the news in detail. Nigerian television has officially announced the death of the country's uncompromising and secretive military ruler, General Sani Abacha, after more than 4 years in power. The death of Abacha yesterday gave an abrupt wrench to the turbulent politics of Africa's most populous nation, where the army rulers have promised and repeatedly delayed a return to democratic rule. Abacha, 54, seized power in 1993 during political turmoil after the military cancelled a presidential election in mid-count. He had been expected to transform himself into an elected civilian president in a one-candidate poll planned in August. Nigeria exports almost 2 million barrels of crude oil a day. Prices made a small jump on the world markets on news of Abacha's death, but the effect was soon outweighed by traders' doubts about the willingness of producer nations to restrain supplies. Abacha was buried in his northern home city of Kano at around 9:30 p.m. amid tears from relatives and political associates. Thousands of people lined the streets to watch his remains paraded through the city. Abu Bakr chaired the meeting of the Provisional Ruling Council during last night to discuss his taking charge of the West African nation of 104 million people.
President Boris Yeltsin has been visiting Germany in a bid to secure support from his closest ally in the West, Chancellor Helmut Kohl, to stem Russia's financial crisis. Kohl and Yeltsin, who met for talks over dinner late yesterday at the Bonn Chancellery, discussed Russia's financial crisis in a friendly, relaxed atmosphere. German government spokesman Otto Hauser said they are due to announce the results of the two-day visit at a news conference today. It was Yeltsin's first foreign appointment since the crisis was sparked 2 weeks ago by mass selling on Russia's economic stock and bond markets. Yeltsin and members of his government delegation dismissed suggestions yesterday that the Russian economy was on the verge of collapse and that he had come to beg for more loans to prop it out. A senior economic advisor to Yeltsin said the president had no intention of asking Kohl for direct financial aid, but left open the question of whether he might seek Yeltsin's backing for further aid from the International Monetary Fund, or IMF.
Colombian President Ernesto Samper addressed a 3-day special session of the United Nations General Assembly devoted to curbing the use and trafficking of illegal drugs. With the US and other governments pointing to Bogota as a key drug exporting country, Samper called on members not to focus all their attention on his nation. Ernesto Samper said during his brief speech yesterday that all nations realized the drug problem was a global issue. More than 30 world leaders are attending the General Assembly session, which will meet morning, noon and night to accommodate the 150 countries taking part. Colombia is considered to be one of the largest suppliers of illegal drugs. The UN session is to endorse a proposal worked out in advance in Vienna that will commit the government to establish a new or enhanced program by 2003 to cut demand and tackle money laundering and to achieve significant and measurable results by 2008, such as wiping out the world's poppy and coca fields.
Solo trabajando activamente contra todos los eslabones de la cadena de producción, distribución y uso de los estupefacientes, podremos...
Still ahead, we have news from home. The Vatican ambassador for Indonesia bids farewell to President Habibie. General Wiranto meets with the U.S. Commander-in-Chief for the Pacific Rim, and today the price of rice goes up by 10%.
Also here at home, we have an update of the Trisakti shooting court trial, and 2,100 kiosks are ready to be used by traders recently hit by the riots.
President B.J. Habibie today received a visit from the Vatican ambassador who's completed his term of office. The Vatican ambassador Pietro Sambi was appointed to Indonesia for 7 years and will soon fill his new position in Jerusalem. Pietro Sambi expressed his confidence that the current economic and monetary crisis Indonesia is facing can be overcome because of the country's belief in unity and harmony based on Pancasila.
I have been here almost 7 years. I can tell you that with a certain emotion, that during these 7 years, I remained very attached to these people, to its values, to its future. Indonesia is passing through a difficult moment, economic and political. The difficult moment can have two issues. One, to go toward the worst, the other to go toward the best. I am sure that the Indonesian people will use a lot of its wisdom, its quality and its capacity to build a more democratic and a more justice future.
The Defense Minister and Armed Forces Chief General Wiranto received a visit yesterday from the U.S. Commander-Chief of the Pacific Rim, Admiral Joseph Brewer, at the Department of Defense and Security. The U.S. Commander-Chief, Admiral Joseph Brewer, expressed his respect for the actions of Indonesia's armed forces during the presidential transition between Suharto and President Habibie, where the armed forces was able to secure and safeguard the situation. The military's firm stand and support for the government under President Habibie has provided much assistance and relief for the country. Thus, it has given new national and international confidence, which is hoped can aid in overcoming the economic and monetary crisis. Admiral Joseph Brewer affirmed that although there has been a transition to a new government, and the U.S. and Indonesia will maintain their long-standing bilateral relationship in order to maintain and enforce the stability and security of both their regions, especially Asia-Pacific.
The request for dismissal delivered by the defense team in Trisakti shooting incident was overruled by the judges in the continuing session, which took place today at the Jakarta's military court. Before the two defendants were called in, defense lawyer Adnan Buyung Nasution notified the chief judge that one of the defendants' witnesses, Colonel Munir, had been withdrawn from the case due to an assignment given to him from his superiors at the police headquarters. The grounds for overruling of the request was due to the accusation in the defense's request that the defendants were victims of the incident. The judges viewed this provocative and as degrading a certain institution. It was confirmed that both defendants, First Lieutenant Police Agus Triyanto and Second Lieutenant Police Priyo, could not be further investigated by the military court, as the judges stated that they had been examined by their superiors in accordance with the prevailing law. The judges also denied that the charging of the two defendants was a means to provoke public emotion and arouse hatred towards the accused. The 45-minute court session was again adjourned for further consultation about the judge's ruling. Today's trial also drew the attention of journalists and students who packed the grounds of the court building and followed the session via TV monitors.
The price of rice in various markets was increased by 10%, which may be due to the government's plan to raise the price of unhulled rice from 1,000 rupiah to 1,500 rupiah per kilogram. The price of rice, which has currently reached 2,000 rupiah per kilogram, is a result of the production decrease of paddy during the 1997 to 1998 harvest season. According to the Minister of Agriculture, Soleh Solahuddin, the current increase of rice prices should not be taken advantage of by large sellers and merchants. TVRI's coverage team at Cipinang's market confirmed today that there has been an increase of rice prices. The head of rice warehouse in Cipinang, Nasion, said that the increase of rice is also caused by the increase of transportation costs. However, this price increase does not affect the supply of rice in Jakarta. One of the rice sellers at Cipinang's market states that the purchasing power of the middle class has been reduced.
From the 2,100 kiosks destroyed during the recent riots at West Jakarta's Glodok shopping arcade, only 300 are ready to accommodate traders of electronic hardware. 200 kiosks that are ready for use are located on the third floor of Harko Plaza, while 70 others are at a vacant area on Jalan Pinang Sia Raya. The kiosks at Harko Plaza were untouched during the riots. Until today, around 200 traders have registered to fill the vacancy. The traders will soon be charged up to 700,000 rupiah per month on an annual contractual basis, but will only be able to start preparing early next month. Other kiosks are also being readied by the surrounding community who have vacant land. There, together with shop owners, they will build emergency kiosks measuring 3 times 3 square meters. For the first phase, which requires the tenants to rent for a 3-year period totaling 4 million rupiah. The riots have caused material damage up to billions of rupiah, which have forced the increase of prices of goods around 10 to 20%. And still ahead, we have the informative dialogue session, which is called News and Views, hosted by TVRI's Inka Maris. And the guest is Dedi Aditya Sumanegara, the President Director of PT Aneka Tambang.
Talks will reveal more about the business prospects of foreign investors in the field of mining and energy. So stay with us for more world news right after this.
Good evening. Aneka Tambang, a public company mining gold, nickel, silver, bauxite, and iron sands across Indonesia, recently announced a 113% increase for its profits in 1997. The company's shares, offered at rupiah 1,400 per share in a float last November, now, even at present economic conditions, stands at above the offering price. With me is President Director Dedi Aditya Sumanegara, whose career with Aneka Tambang spans a period of 20 years of experience and who led Antam through its successful float. Pak Dedi, what is Aneka Tambang's secret of success?
Firstly, Aneka Tambang operations are supported by large and high quality of resources and large exploration area, especially for nickel, gold, and bauxite. And then secondly, Aneka Tambang has more than 25 years experience in exploration, mining, and processing as well.
It's the oldest mining company in Indonesia, I suppose.
Well, yes, one of the oldest, I think. So by that, the Aneka Tambang is able to operate cost effectively, and then that now we can maintain that our operation now that it lowest cash costs operators for nickel and gold
in the world.
Yeah. And then based on that, I think it's very important that Aneka Tambang could have a high potential growth in the future, because that we have a lot of big exploration area, and also we have experience to develop that. And then last but not least, I think that Aneka Tambang has a diversified market. We sell our product to Europe, England, Spain, Germany, Belgium, and then also to Asia, Japan, Korea, Taiwan as well. So if there is something happen, such like economic turmoil, especially in Asia, in the current situation, we can shift our
Your
products to
exports to
another
country.
area. Yes.
How much of Antam's profits of around 69 billion rupiah is due to depreciation of the rupiah against the dollar?
Well, it's rather difficult actually to explain detail about that. But if we try to see that on the last 97, that rupiah depreciated against dollars is about from 2,310 to 3,100 rupiah. So it's about 24%. So that contribution of this depreciation is about 30%.
What proportion of your products are exported and earning dollars?
Well, for ferronickel, nickel ore, and bauxite, totally it's about 75%. We directly exported. And then for gold, actually that we sell it for fulfill domestic demand, but based in dollars. So actually that we have about 95% in dollar base, but the 5% is we get from iron sand, and we sell it domestically for cement industry.
Newspaper reports say that prices of a number of metals have weakened throughout last year, including prices of your main commodities, nickel and gold. How has it affected your profits?
Well, you are right that most of metal prices is going down now, that including nickel and gold. That nickel decreased about 10% last year, and then for gold 14%. But fortunately that Aneka Tambang still have a proper margin, because also that our cash costs decrease as well. For nickel, it's about 16 cent decrease compared to 97 compared to 96. And then for gold, about $18 per troy ounce cash costs compared 97 to 96.
So your profit figures reflect improvements and in efficiency in operating costs and output?
And also output that we increase the output, such like for ferronickel in 96, our output was 9,500 ton, and then on 97 was mostly 10,000.
But where did this additional output come from? Is it through expansion, or is it through increased efficiency?
For nickel, that we fix for transporting system from Gibi Island to Pomala, and also that we now increasing our capacity in Ponggol as well.
Mm-hmm. It's been reported that Antam has been awarded 15 new contract of works recently, and this brings the number of Antam contracts to around 64. Which of these new contract of works are the most promising?
Well, I think I can inform you about at least 3 of contract of work. One of them is in Gag Island. It's very important because the Gag Island is one of the world-class deposit there, and then we have joint ventures with BHP, world-class mining operator, and then now we are doing a bankable feasibility study, and soon we will build a kind of demonstration plant. So we are very optimistic about for this project. And then secondly, we now develop together with Eastern Mining, MMC, for diamond alluvial in South Kalimantan. And then this end of this year, the dredge, the equipment will come to Indonesia, and then hoping that next year we start with.
Is Antam going to diversify and add to its mining products?
We focus on nickel and gold, but as long as it gives a good profit, a good return, so we also develop that kind of project.
Are you going to diversify into coal, which is also a promising product?
Not so far. We not on that area.
With many of your joint ventures, Antam's share ownership is only around 10%. For instance, let's take the Gag Island contract area. It's believed to be the third largest nickel deposit, and it's very prospective. And yet, BHP owns around 90% of its shares. This is according to reports in newspapers. Many observers are saying that we are selling our natural resources far too cheaply. Do you agree?
No, I disagree, because I think that what happened now that no Andika Tambang interest is 25%, which is 15% is free carried, and then next 10% is loan carried. So now we hold 25%. And then beside that, after 13 years, we have option to about 20%. So totally, after 13 years, we could have about 45% of interest. I think that's a big interest in the big projects like in Gag.
Yeah. With another 7 months to go in 1998, what's the outlook for Antam's profits and earnings this year?
You mean in terms of earnings?
Earnings.
Well, it's quite not easy, that everything changed so fast. Is it that prices and then also with that rupiah, dollars, depreciation, something like that. But I could inform you that at least for the first quarter of this year, Andika Tambang earning unaudited is about 112 billion rupiah. It means
Which
that...
means an increase of what against 97? Yes,
of course, yes. In 97, as you know, that is about 62% higher than a whole years of 97.
Well, Pak Dedi, congratulations on Antam's brilliant performance. And on that note, we end News and Views. Join me again next week in the next issue of News and Views.
Just ahead on TVRI News, Mickey Mouse memorabilia received success at the London auction house of Christie's, and the Spice Girls rehearses with Luciano Pavarotti in Italy.
And an emotional memorial service was held for the wife of ex-Beatle member Paul McCartney. But first, our news item from London.
Much loved Disney character Mickey Mouse memorabilia has gone under the hammer at the London auction house of Christie's. A large selection of Mickey Mouse memorabilia was sold at the auction in London yesterday, with one item, a rare Japanese celluloid featuring a crawling Mickey, making the best price of the day at £5,500. The art and collectible sale featured items dating mainly from the 1930s and 40s. But there was something for everyone, and one happy customer, Yona Cohen, bought a 1950s Belgian tin box featuring Mr. Mickey Mouse on the lid for a reasonable £80. Entertainment memorabilia expert Sarah Hodgson said that Mickey's value laid in the fact that he was an enduring character, but that prices would always fluctuate, so predictions were difficult.
5,500 at the moment. 5,005 in the room against the girls. 5,500.
Paul McCartney, flanked by family and friends and fellow Beatles, has attended an emotional memorial service to his wife Linda after her death from breast cancer. It was the first time in 3 decades that Ringo Starr and George Harrison have come together with McCartney in public. They were there to support him as he paid an emotion-charged tribute yesterday to the woman who had only spent one night apart from Paul in 30 years of marriage. McCartney praised his wife as a great lover, fantastic photographer, passionate rock and roll fan, and fervent crusader for animal rights. Up the aisle at St. Martin-in-the-Fields Church were led 2 Shetland ponies, Skoo and Tinsel, which he had given Linda as Christmas presents. McCartney, who with John Lennon composed so many Beatle classics, said he wanted the service to be a celebration of Linda, a dedicated vegetarian campaigner who died in April. For the service, he was joined by his 3 children, Mary, fashion designer Stella, and rock guitarist James, along with Heather, Linda's daughter from his first marriage. Linda McCartney, who died in the United States at the age of 56, was a photographer and vegetarian who started her own successful food business and was a strong supporter of animal rights.
The Spice Girls held hands, bantered with press, and put on a business-as-usual front to their latest concert as if Ginger Spice had never existed. In their first appearance as the new look foursome, after Ginger Spice Jerry Halliwell stormed out of the group, the girls vowed that Spice power would never last. The Spice Girls were tight-lipped yesterday about redhead Gary's dramatic departure late last month, which has left many wondering if the British pop sensation can last without her. Baby, Sporty, Sorry and Posh Spice grouped on stage for rehearsals for a charity concert with superstar tenor Luciano Pavarotti in Modena, northern Italy. Ginger Spice has been the brains behind Britain's biggest girl band, quit after a vicious row erupted in Helsinki. The self-proclaimed leader of the group that has sold 30 million albums was its most extrovert member and was behind such publicity stunts such as kissing Prince Charles and bantering with South African President Nelson Mandela. And that's the news for tonight. Tune in again tomorrow evening for more news and reports from TVRI. I'm Sefty Widodo.
And I'm BANTAN Subroto. Thank you for joining us and good night.